Hello there, fellow cultists. This is DM Nell, and I'm back with another Shadow Talk. This is episode number 123, and today I'm going to focus on one of the cities of the Confederacy of Nine Cities. Haven't done one of these in a while, and I do enjoy covering the cities of the Confederacy because they are all so interesting and evocative and great places to hold an adventure. So the one that I'm going to be covering today is the City of Thieves, which is also known as Pruul. Now, Pruul is its common name. You don't want to call your city the City of Thieves because it really tends to, dissuade that tourism. but Anyway, City of Thieves is Pruul, and Pruul is the City of Thieves. And it is quite the shithole. It's got a long history. It started off with the as a small trading post, and then the Witch King came and took it over. Then it was a trading post, slave trading post. Lots of different business went through on behalf of the Witch King through Pruul and caused the city to swell. And but then the Calaisians came in and eventually overthrew the local population of the men of Gog and took over the city. All of that history is in the first several pages of the supplement, all the way down until we get to page the end of page 4, where it starts Pruul today. So lots of pages of back history, and well, history is always back history, but dumbass history, and lots of background for you to fit into your Shadow of the Demon Lord campaign if you're using the default setting. Now, one of the reasons I really enjoy using these, or I really enjoy the cities, and I like these supplements that focus on different parts of Pruul, is that they're written such that it is something that you can use in your campaign with the core setting, but you can also use it in other settings. This city, as well as all the other cities of the Confederacy, you could take the supplement out of Pruul and place it in any campaign setting. Greyhawk, you could place it in Forgotten Realms, pretty much any fantasy setting. Any of these cities, the Confederacy of Nine Cities, would fit in any fantasy setting. So that's why I really enjoy these. They're written such that you could pull it out and plug it in anywhere else. But of course you have to sacrifice, it's written for the core setting. So you have 4 pages of that setting that if you're going to be using a different setting, those obviously have no value to you. Or if you're doing your own homebrew, you might take some of that background and just kind of modify it to fit into your homebrew setting. But the Pruul today is the section at the end of page 4 that starts how the city is set up today, and it's probably where the useful information for most GMs begins. Now you have the autarch. Every city of the Confederacy has a leader that's called an autarch, and the Lady Cat is the autarch for the City of Thieves. And here's a little picture of her. Looks like a little granny, very innocent looking, but don't let that fool you, because she is the head of the Thieves Guild in Pruul. She's called Lady Cat, Autarch of Pruul, and it's got her stat block here. She's difficulty 100, which means that she's not as innocent and weak as she may appear. So on page 5, it talks about the Council of Thieves. And that's basically the the government of the city, if you can really say that the city has a government. The city is really run by the Thieves Guilds and the local the local gangs. That's what I'm thinking. So think of some real world examples like Chicago in the early 30s and 40s and 20s. You know, run by gangs, basically, very much a lawless city. Well, not much different today, actually. Uh, but anyway, sorry for those of you who live in Chicago, but I love Chicago. Visit there often. My sister lives there, but not a safe place. Anyway, all right. So we've got Lady Cat. She is she's the leader of the city, and it talks about how if you're living in the city, what it's like. So the city is run. Ruled by the guild and gang. It kind of talks about that here. Grand bosses rule over large gangs that have divided up every square inch of the city and nearby countryside. Technically, every thief, prostitute, thug, pickpocket, murderer for hire belongs to one of these gangs. However, some small upstart gangs exist, either giving lip service and a small percentage to the grand boss above them, or keeping on the move to avoid attention. Some of the grand bosses allow these freelancers, quote unquote, to ply their trade for a while, judging them for talent or using them as handy scapegoats for their own duplicitous schemes against their rivals. So yeah, that's the city's basically run by gangs and thieves. So let's see. The Pruul was named City of Thieves for a reason. Since its creation, the desire for great wealth, envy of those with more, has seeped into the soul of every man, woman, and child. It is thought that Zenith's discovery inside the Black Obelisk brought with it a curse that affects anyone who spends a significant amount of time within Pruul's walls. So that is part of the background. Zenith was one of the autarchs of the city, and one of the features in the city are these black obelisks. And that's featured down here's a picture of one, and it talks about the black obelisk here in a couple pages later. The black obelisks are mysterious structures. I want to say that there's 8 of them. It says dotted throughout. I'm not sure exactly how many. It might say in here. The number 8 seems to be stuck in my head, but I could be totally off on that. Anyway, the black obelisks are mysterious structures. Nobody knows what they're for, but one of the autarchs entered these various obelisks, and every time he did, he became richer. But he also became more insane. And so apparently something about the obelisks, if you enter properly using, a word of power, perhaps, it will grant you wealth and power, but at the cost of your sanity. So these definitely are interesting landmark, and place to visit, if or it could be a plot device for any adventures that you have set in the city. We'll get to adventure hooks in a little bit. And the other things that are interesting in the city are talked about starting on page 7. Inside the city, we've got the Coral Fortress, which is the where the autarch sits, and City Hall, and it has the harbor and switchbacks. In order to access the Deepwater port from the top of the promontory, the men of Gog ordered their slaves to hew long switchbacks into the granite. These are now lined with buildings made from wood or even carved into the cliffs themselves. With the exception of a few wooden elevators that lift goods up and down the walls, the switchback offer the only way to and from the harbor, and are of course controlled by several gangs, each demanding tribute to pass. The harbor is huge, sprawling affair, built to last the ages, and can handle dozens of ships at a time. Although it sees little activity these days, currently the Black Sails Gang controls the harbor, along with the harbor workers and pearl divers guilds. There are a bunch of old manors. Then we had the black obelisks, created by the Menagog on behalf of the Witch King long ago. No one is entirely sure what they are there for or what they contain within. The only hints are the stories of the cursed autarch Zenith, who allegedly learned a word of power that allowed him entry inside. Others have tried and failed? No, tried and died. What's that from? All right, so Cliff Down. That's another section of the city. This district sits immediately above the harbor and switchbacks. The bulk of Pruul's average folk live here, plying their trades, paying protection money, and striving to steer clear of the city's worst predations. The Ruddy Buggers gang, led by their corpulent and insatiably greedy grand boss Thomas Two Fingers, lords over this ward. Considered the safest of the wards in terms of violence, pickpockets and muggers abound. Merchants perform their transactions from behind iron gates, forcing buyers to access their purchases from a distance. Very nice. All right, East Ridge. Overlooking the azure waters of the Auroral Ocean, East Ridge is the most affluent and intact ward of Pruul. Many guildmasters, wealthy merchants, and even retired pirates live here, making their homes in old manors. Every manor has its own personal guard, and the streets are heavily patrolled to keep out the rabble. Of course, in a city full of thieves, this makes East Ridge a target for burglars and conmen looking to plunder the hoards of treasure locked behind walls and in vaults. Strangely, this area is also boasts the highest density of black obelisks in Pruul. The plazas around these obelisks serve as public venues where gang leaders and businessmen meet and plot, unaware that the obelisks might be exerting some kind of dark influence upon their thoughts and deeds. Okay, so then we have the Shambles and the Gate. The area known as Shambles was once an affluent area adjacent to the city gates. Merchant houses, inns, and marketplaces are abundant here. It was also one of the first places to fall and burn during the devastating riots long ago. All right, the Scars. The Scars are Pruul's most notorious and dangerous areas above ground. So named for the twin canyons that split the city in two. Several hundred feet deep from the top of the peninsula's promontory. The Scars are home to 1,000 or so people who live in perpetual shadow and gloom except when the sun shines directly overhead, and even then it's dim at best, filtered through the ever-present foul fog and smoke cloud that lingers over the city. So here's a map of the city. Here are the two canyons that make up the Scar. Or the Scars. Okay, so let's see, what else do we have? The Undercliff Tunnels. The ground beneath Pruul is riddled with tunnels that lead to the harbor and the ocean, out past the city limits or plundered deep into the unknown. Most of the passageways have been either sealed off or collapsed, though new passageways are constantly being discovered. The upper levels of the tunnels are almost a town themselves, where desperate gangs and most of the wretched scum live, preying on each other and any other on the surface who venture too close to their entry points. Odd artifacts of the era of the Witch King are occasionally discovered. Most of these are smuggled out of the city, where they fetch absurdly high prices. Rumors abound of terrifying creatures, malevolent spirits, and foul abominations lurking in the dark depths of these tunnels. And then we have the mines and southern estates. So the southern and western mines that gave Pruul its initial wealth dot the countryside and around the city, mostly inactive. Although many of these mines sit waiting for anyone to claim them, threats, assaults, and wholesale looting by the various gangs and guilds means that no one can hold a mine for long. An entire subgroup of the Thieves Guild exists to stalk and plunder any caravans attempting to cart away ore and gemstones from any mining venture unlicensed by the council. So another good, a good mine is an excellent adventure location. So definitely an interesting place in the city to explore, or places in the city to explore. And then we get to the adventure ideas. So as a city was full of thieves, cutthroats, and conmen, Along with a rich history full of mystery and intrigue, Pruul is the perfect if somewhat dangerous place for adventure. Here are a few story hooks to spark adventure for your own design. Standing beside one of the black obelisks, a raving madman spouts dire prophecy. Soon after, he is spotted at another obelisk, then another, then another. A massive upswelling of sewage and filth pushes its way like a flood from some of the entrances of the undercliff tunnels. Floating on it are strange corpses and abominations that are still alive. Someone is strangling the underbosses of each gang and leaving behind a blue rose. A ship in the harbor mysteriously explodes. Soon after, sunken wrecks in the bay begin rising to the surface. And then a grand boss hires a huge contingent of orcs from Caicrus to forcibly remove her rival. War erupts in the streets. If you want your character to come from... Oh, here's a couple more. I'm not going to read all of them. You can buy this if you want to read all of them. So anyway, lots of adventure ideas for the city, and then character backgrounds. If you want your character to have originated from Pruul, then you can have lots of background ideas for your character. And looks like 20 options here. So yeah, there you go. Pruul, the City of Thieves, very interesting place. You know, if you like cities that are dangerous, thieves' dens, smoky streets, you know, dark, dirty, lawless, except, you know, it's lawless except it's got the law of the gangs and the guilds. So, you know, you can make of it what you want, but it is really an intriguing place to hold a few adventures, or to perhaps even be a locale for your entire campaign. So City of Thieves, yet one more of the city of the Confederacy of 9 cities. And if you want this, it's on DriveThruRPG. Just drop a few bucks, very cheap, just like all the other Schwalb Entertainment supplements that are out there, and you know, either use it for your current Shadow of the Demon Lord campaign, or throw it into some other fantasy campaign setting. So there you go. That's it. That's all I got for today. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. If you like my videos, give me and you know, if you want to know when my videos hit, then hit that bell icon. You can subscribe. That'd be great. Subscribing would be good. As of the making of this video, I have 470 subscribers. I need 1,000 for YouTube to even recognize me as a player. So right now, you know, I'm just another of the riffraff out there making videos. So I'm really striving to get 1,000 videos. If for no other reason, just to unlock some of the nifty little features that YouTube has, such as allowing me to make little video shorts and to post messages and stuff like that into YouTube. There may be some other. I'm not even really sure what you get at 1,000, but I know 1,000 is like the minimum number of followers that you need, and really followers isn't that big a deal. It's more YouTube really goes more based off of your views, how many views your videos get, rather than how many followers. But they do have to have a minimum requirement of followers in order to unlock certain features, and looks like that number is 1,000. So I'm at 470. I need 530 more followers in order to, you know, become legit, I guess. So I need your help, man. Spread the word. Get my videos out there. Retweet them. Whatever you do on YouTube to perpetuate videos. You know, share them with your buddies, and you know, encourage them to you know, become a follower, or subscribe. Not become a follower. Subscribe to my videos. You know, it doesn't cost anything. You know, the worst that will happen is that you'll see one of my videos pop up every once in a while, and if you want to watch it, you can watch it. If you don't want to watch it, you can ignore it. But at any rate, I need you guys' help. So you know, helping me get my videos out there helps the game, become more noticed in the general gaming community, and hopefully brings more players into Shadow the Demon Lord. And that's ultimately what we all want. We want this game to last a good long time, because I don't know what I'm doing here. This is sign language for bringing in more gamers into the Shadow the Demon Lord. Anyway, we're trying to get more life out of this game, right? And the Shadow of the Weird Wizard. So let's get more people interested in these videos. Let's get more people interested in this game, and let's grow this thing. So anyway, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time. I'm out of here, if I can figure out how to stop this damn video.